So today we're going to talk about 16 Vipassana jhana, or inside knowledge. Also, in the same framework, is a 7 purification, Visuddhi, and then it links to the Noble Eightfold path or middle path. So, Noble Eightfold path or middle path is the practical training, and the 7 Visuddhi or purifications is a structural framework, and the 16 Vipassana jhana is inside knowledge, experiential roadmap. So they link together. So Noble Eightfold Path provides the practical training. You may remember, like morality, concentration, and wisdom. And 7 Visuddhis provide the structural framework, and 16 Vipassana jhana. Jhana is a experiential roadmap. Together they form a layer system. The middle path lead to purifications, and inside knowledge and liberation, or nibbana, or nirvana. You may recall that Noble Eightfold Path has morality, concentration, and wisdom. But in practice, and that's in the social system, but threefold training. But in the practical aspect, it starts with wisdom, right view, right thoughts, because everything has to start in the mind. You have an open mind, have a right view to seek for the ultimate truth, and so on. Right view, right thoughts are wisdom, and then morality is right speech, right action, right livelihood, and my development of mental concentration is right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. It's a spoke of a wheel. You have to have a whole wheel, whole eight spoke, otherwise the wheel will collapse. And to hold together is the self-awareness. And the Buddha said this is the middle path realized by Tathagata. That is his own, he called himself Tathagata, the one who knows thusness, referred to himself as Buddha. Generating vision, generating insight, leads to peace, to direct knowledge, and to self-awakening, and to extinguishment, of suffering, basically. Free yourself from suffering. So this is the fourth noble truth, as you may recall, or fourth ultimate truth. So this is a kind of like diagram how it works. Noble Eightfold Path, like I mentioned, is morality, or sila, concentration, samadhi, and wisdom, pañña. It's a practical training. It covers these 7 purifications, Visuddhi, a structural framework. So the first one is about morality, Sila-visuddhi, right speech, right action, right livelihood. Just reflect on the past life. It's deal with morality or Sila. And then the second Visuddhi is a Citta-visuddhi. Citta is a mind. It's right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So this is mind development that leads you to Samadhi, a mental concentration. And the rest of the 5 more are wisdom, deal with wisdom. Third one is Ditthi-visuddhi, or right view. Right view is extinguish mental and physical states. See, body is a person, is a composite of body and mind, physical and mental states. And then the fourth one is Kankhavitarana-visuddhi, or overcoming doubt, right view. Right view is deal with cause and effect, clarity. And then Maggāmagga-nanadassana-visuddhi is to see whether this is the path or not path to follow. Right view and right effort. And then the sixth one deal with progress of insight, Patipada-nanadassana-visuddhi, is deal with right mindfulness and right effort. And the seventh one is nanadassana-visuddhi, deal with knowledge and vision. Culmination of impact and fruition. So this last five, from 3 to 7, Visuddhi or purifications, deal with wisdom. So it's kind of like reflect morality on the first one, second, mental concentration. The last 5 is wisdom or Pañña. So this also distribute into 16 insight knowledge on the first 2, as mentioned on Visuddhi, is deal with morality and mental concentration. So didn't do with wisdom or knowledge. The knowledge is the last 5, which expand to this 16 insight knowledge. First one is knowledge to distinguish mental and physical states, called Nama-rupa, Parichedayana. Visuddhi, the third and the fourth. And the second insight knowledge is knowledge of cause and effect relationship between mental and physical states. Pañña is also reflect upon this third and fourth Visuddhi or purification. So, as mentioned, a person is a composite of body and mind. So this first one to deal with that. The second one, see the cause and effect, how it come about, the relationship of this body and mind, mental and physical aspect. And then the third insight knowledge is called knowledge of mental and physical processes as impermanence, imperfection, or unsatisfactoriness, and not self or selfless in nature, is basically the 3 universal marks or Sammasanajana. It also reflects impermanence, which is one of the 3 universal marks. This is on the 5th Visuddhi on the last slide. Okay. And the 4th to the 12th, this reflect on the 6th purification, 6th Visuddhi. The 4th one on the inside knowledge is the knowledge of arising and passing away. Uttayapaya jhana, or Uttayapaya Vipassana jhana in the full name. It reflects impermanence. See, the arising and passing away. So basically, it's the 3 universal marks that emphasize on the arising and passing away. Also reflect on the 6th purification, and then cover under that topic on all the 4 to 12. And the 5th one is the knowledge of dissolution of formations, Pankhanupassana jhana, basically. Pankha jhana is a short. It reflects impermanence. That thing has dissolution of the formation. As you see, a person's being is a composite thing, and all 4 of the 3 universal marks. It's with impermanence. It doesn't last forever. It keeps changing all the time. And that's it covered under this, the 6th purification, Visuddhi. Basically, it was called Patipattayana-visuddhi. And then and the next one is the sixth inside knowledge. It deals with fearful nature of mental and physical states. Pajatu patana or payayana. Basically is imperfection or unsatisfactoriness. Visuddhi under the same heading of purification, the six. So it's color coded in that 4 to 12 is like that. And the number 7 along the line, this kind of like sequential knowledge of mental and physical state as unsatisfactoriness. Atinawa jhana or Atinawa nupassana jhana. Is to see the imperfection in such nature. You become unsatisfied with unsatisfactoriness or imperfection. And the eighth jhana is knowledge of disenchantment or nibbidana jhana. Kind of fed up with that, disenchant, imperfection still under that. The same as the sixth purification, as you see in the pink heading there. And the ninth is a knowledge of the desire of and to abandon the worldly state. Muchitu Kamayata jhana. Basically, it reflects the not self under the sixth purification there. And the 10th is knowledge, which investigate the path to deliverance and instill a decision to practice further. Basically, is the Patisankha jhana or Patisankha-nupassana jhana in full name. It reflects not self. And then also in this sixth purification. And the 11th is knowledge, which regards mental and physical state with equanimity. Sankharupekkha jhana. And or not seeing not self in there. So you become, say, not being swayed by positive or negative aspect. Good or bad, you remain neutral, equanimous in that. And the sixth purification about not self again. And the 12th one is the knowledge which conforms to the Four Noble Truths, the Anulomayana, basically, for the higher knowledge. As you can see in the number 4 to 12, and in some place they expand number 3 in there. 3, 4, and 5 reflect impermanence. And 6, 7, and 8 reflect imperfection. And 9, 10, and 11 reflect not self. So these 3 reflect impermanence, imperfection, selflessness, or not self in nature. Reflect the 3 universal marks. You kind of like experience it with your experiential roadmap that see it in detail, step that you see how it come about, arising and ceasing, and you see like dissolution in there. You become fearful, and you see the unsatisfactoriness in there, and then become disenchanted, decide to abandon. So investigate a path to deliverance, and you see that remain equanimity, in the positive and negative aspect that may sway your mind and so on. You remain neutral there. And you conform to the Four Noble Truth on the 12th one. So, which is a higher knowledge. And in the sixth purification there. Now you come to the higher knowledge in the last 4 or 5 there, from the 13 onward. Knowledge of deliverance from the worldly condition. Kotra Puja. Kotra Pujana is the seventh purification, Visuddhi. You kind of like letting go of the worldly condition, like cross over to the ultimate reality. So the 14 and 15 is we talked about previously, about Maggā-jnana and Phala-jnana. Magga is the 14 knowledge by which defilements are abandoned and are overcome by destruction. It's a supramundane here. On the other, from the 13 and 16 are still mundane, but the 14 and 15 is a supramundane, or ultimate reality there. And number 15 here is knowledge which realize the fruit of the path and has nibbana as an object. You already the fruition of it. You get this nibbana or nirvana as a fruition, a result. Is in the seventh purification. This is supramundane. Only 2 of this are supramundane. Why number 16, which is later on, it's just a mundane, because this is the knowledge which review the defilements still remaining. Pañña, basically. It check and balance in Buddhism. In your practice, is about dealing with the truth. You have to have check and balance to see what you have abandoned, and the defilements, or what you still have left. The only one that doesn't go into this number 16 is the Arahant. He had no more defilement remaining, so he wouldn't have to go into that. But even that he reflect upon, he won't see anything left. So that's the 7th Visuddhi. So I kind of color coded to make it easier for you. So number 14 and 15 are supramundane. The rest is mundane. From number 1 to 16, except number 14 and 15, is supramundane in the ultimate reality. So just to reflect upon Noble Eightfold Path on the top, it's kind of like guideline for morality, mental concentration, wisdom. Kind of go into the 7 purification. The first one is about right speech, right action, right livelihood. This deal with morality. Second one is about deal with mind development, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. And it can lead you to the highest jhana, like the 8th jhana. Jhana is different than jhana. Jhana is mental absorption. Jhana is wisdom or knowledge, direct knowledge. So the first 2 was not included in the 16 inside knowledge on the previous slide, because it deals morality and mental concentration. Only the last 5, number 3 to 7, reflect upon wisdom or inside knowledge, which is the bottom of the slide there. Number 3 is the Ditthi-visuddhi, to see the true nature of your body and mind, aim and form. Like you see in the first of the 16 and the second one of the 16 basically see the uncertainty. So you reflect upon suffering, on the First Noble Truth on that. See how it come about and the cause and effect on that, on your name and form come about. It doesn't exist by itself. It has to have cause and effect. And so the stage 1 and 2 on the 16 VipassanaNana insight knowledge is equal to the third and fourth purification. And number 5 in the purification is the stage 3 comprehension. Reflect upon this, the fifth purification. Stage 3 is a comprehension on the 16 insight knowledge. We deal with, reflect upon seeing the 3 universal marks of impermanence, imperfection, selflessness, the three universal characteristics of existence. So there's a comprehension on that. And then the number 4 to 12, as I mentioned, with the pink fonts there, is arising and passing plus equanimity. You see impermanence, imperfections, and selfless or not self. You see the danger of it. You want to come out of it, so you conform to the Four Noble Truths. So that becomes the sixth purification, sixth Visuddhi. And so 4 to 12 that's been in the same under the sixth Visuddhi, sixth purification. And the last 4 is 13 to 16, conformity to the Four Noble Truth and reviewing and abandon it. And like the Magga and the Phala, basically the path and the fruition. And then the last one is reflect upon what you have abandoned. It's the seventh purification there. So it's kind of, this slide kind of covered everything in there. And can reflect upon different angle. It's the same way, basically. The first of the 16 deal with mind and body and mind. Because that's what we meditate upon, to see this, the person is consists of these 5 aggregates of 5 group of existence: form, feeling, perception, thought formation, consciousness. You see that. Okay, it's basically you see it's a combination of body and mind. Mind is mental activities. So it's a reflection of the mind. It's a feeling, perception, and thought formation, basically. You see the body and mind, how it comes about, how it consists of. And basically, cause and effect, you see that the 3 universal mark or 3 characteristics, cause and effect of how your body mind come about, and 3 characteristics, it deal with the 3 universal mark of existence. So basically, it's reflecting different angle. So the comparison, 7 purification, it's a broad purification of morality, mental concentration, and wisdom. It's a macro structure of the path, of the middle path. And the 16 Vipassana jhana is kind of distributed into more detail experiential insight stage. So micro map instead of macro structure. Micro map into, like the 4 to 12 is equate to the 6 Visuddhi or something like that. Micro map within the 6 and 7 Visuddhi, which is the main structure on that. Sometimes we did talk about in the past the 37 factors of enlightenment, Bodhipakkhiya Bodhipakkhiya Dhamma is providing supporting qualities for progress, factors of enlightenment. And have something like mindfulness, effort, wisdom, and so on. It's like a formula for success and a right view and so on. So the key takeaway is 7 Visuddhi or 7 purification are the big picture, and then 16 VipassanaNana is kind of like a micro picture, expanded detail. So the 16 insight knowledge with the first one is the Nama-rupa Paricheka Jnana, the knowledge of distinction between mentality and physicality of mind body, which reflect on the third and fourth purification. And we'll go into that a little bit here. And the second one is Pañña Parikarana Jnana is deal with knowledge of conditionality, cause and effect between mentality and physical aspect. And the third one is about Samadhi, to see the 3 universal marks of impermanence, imperfection, or suffering, and not self, or selflessness. As you may recall, a person has 5 aggregates of body, of form, including sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and thoughts that interact in this body and mind. It results in feeling, perception of what you encounter, sight, a beautiful sight, light, a nice color, a nice picture, and so on, nice sound, feeling, perception, how you perceive it without bias, and mental impulse or thought formation, and consciousness, which has no form, is formless, but you can see feeling, you can experience feeling, perception, and thought formation that you can and observe and monitor on those, even though the mind itself is formless. So these 5 aggregates form a person, and those are mental activities that you meditate upon. We call mental activity or cetasik. It generates a self-image hologram when you're biased. It came through your thoughts, this bias, it generates self-image. In the First Noble Truth, has been described as 5 aggregates, like we born suffering, to age is suffering, to die is suffering. Physical ailment is suffering. So that's a physical aspect. Mental ailment is suffering that become mental now. Sorrow, lamentation, grief, despair, depart from your loved one, didn't get what you want or got what you don't want. That's deal with the mind. So body and mind, different aspect. That's the first and second arrow. You remember. First arrow, no one can escape that, the physical part. But mental part, you can escape the second arrow, which deal with cetasika, the mental activities it generates. It's your thoughts, basically. That's the First Noble Truth. So it reflects upon, in this First Noble Truth, that the Buddha said the 5 aggregates of clinging as self are suffering. That means if you don't have clinging to self, you don't have this mental suffering. Because thing is right its own cause, impermanence, imperfection, selflessness are not self. But you're not clinging to it. It just runs its own cause. You don't just, when you cling to it, suffering arises. So there's no true permanent self, entity, no being, no person, no self, no you or no me. It's all supposition, conceptual. that your mind generates as your thoughts, embedded with your ego. Over 100 years of searching, neuroscientists haven't found it in any place in the brain where your self is located. So the second one, as mentioned previously, Pañña jhana. It deals with conditionality, understanding cause and effect between body and mind, or mental and physical aspect. So deal with dependent arising, as you may know. It's a way of life, a way of thoughts. From your ignorance, not seeing the truth, become a fool. You generate mental impulse, tainted your mind, and you generate your imagination, nama-rupa. Six sensory ayunas got corrupted. Contact, feeling are corrupted. Result in craving, clinging, becoming, burden your thoughts, and ripening, aging, and death of your thoughts. The thought died down. It allows your ego or self, I concept, but you have awareness, which is a key to have the solution. Get rid of this see the true nature of selfless and nirvana, ultimate peace and happiness. So back to the 16 knowledge. Sammasana. You see the three universal marks of impermanence, imperfection, or suffering, and it's not selflessness. Equal to the 6 purification, 6 Visuddhi. So you gain insight to see the three universal marks, like a baby in the crib, become a toddler, teenager, young man, middle-aged man, old man, and death. Different chapter of a book. Physically, you can see it, even though sometimes it takes time. Mentally, it's very tough. You need to meditate to see the impermanence, imperfection, selflessness, because it's the continuity blinds it. Impermanence, like because you see yourself every day, or your spouse every day, you don't see much change until someone didn't see you for 10 years. Oh, you grow much older, or you grow much taller now. A boy become adolescent or teenager now. Imperfection is obscured by movement, like subtle movement, like you sit for a long time, you're hurting your butt, you just move a little bit. Different pressure point, it solves the problem. Not self or selfless in nature, uncontrollable. Sometimes people get stroke, couldn't move one side. We got one of our friends, he got stroke, couldn't move. He lost his continuity, lost his control. It's not bundling anymore, become unbundling. So the stroke tell him it's not under his control anymore. It's selfless or not self. He can't even speak. He wanna speak. He can only smile. So there's three universal characteristics there. But mindful awareness can see, catch your thoughts in there. Because the mind's formless. You can see his self-entities, but self-image, self-concept, self-image hologram, not truly existing. It came by through your thoughts, like the cycle I showed you earlier, coming from your thoughts. In reality, it's impermanence, imperfection, and selfless in nature. So we were the third three, number 4 to 12, as mentioned earlier. It's under the 6 Visuddhi or sixth purification. First, the last one on the three universal marks is the number 3 and 4th and 5th deal with impermanence. And 6, 7, and 8 deal with imperfection. The fourth one, you see the arising and passing away of the phenomenon. Thing is that doesn't come by itself. It comes from a cause arising and passing away. And you see the dissolution in number 5. You see the become fearful. The thing keep passing away, vanishing, passing away. Become fearful, terrifying of the true nature of things. So you see the different disadvantage, mystery in such phenomena. You shouldn't, in such condition phenomena, shouldn't be clinging to. See the imperfection. Thing doesn't last. Even though we want it to be like that, it doesn't. It's not able to hold itself to be stable like that. Number 8 is deal with disenchantment, disgusted in the conditioned state. So the composite thing. And so number 9, you see the not self. So you knowledge of the desire for deliverance. So how do you do that? You kind of like, you see the not self, and the number 10 tell you knowledge of reflective contemplation or reinvestigate of the path, going this middle path, solidifying the commitment to practice. It's not so. And then number 11 is basically knowledge of equanimity, Sankharubekayana. Basically, you remain neutral, equanimous. Equanimity, either good or bad. In terms of a mental aspect, they're equal in value because they sway your mind from the middle path. So you remain neutral in that and developing a detached and balanced view towards the all conditioned phenomena, state of not self nature there. And the number 12 is deal with a higher knowledge. It's about the final knowledge. It's about Anuloma-jhana, basically to conform with the Four Noble Truths of suffering, cause and effect again, and end of suffering, and middle pathway and suffering. So this is sometimes they present it differently. The impermanence, they had number 3, which was that in a different group there. In that, so 3 of the impermanence, 3 of imperfection, 3 of the not self or selfless in nature. And number 12 is the final knowledge. Number 3 deal with the 3 universal mark, which should be included because it is deal with impermanence, imperfection, selflessness. So that's what we practiced on, the 4 foundations to gain mindfulness, self-awareness. We persevere, you practice 24/7 while you move around, which you can practice all day. Observe body, feeling, mind, mental phenomena. To gain self-awareness and mindfulness. As I mentioned, self-awareness is the key to your enlightenment. Mindfulness will help to seize the phenomena. Self-awareness is the wisdom that will investigate phenomena to get rid of desire and undesirable nature that arise at those 4 foundations. And you come to realize these 3 universal marks: impermanence, imperfection, selflessness. Gaining insight to wisdom. We can see the burden of clinging. So now that coming to the last 4, number 13 to 16, Kotrapujana, not jhana, Kotrapujana, knowledge of change of lineage or maturity, indicating a shift towards the path of to enlightenment. 7 Visuddhis. It's still mundane. It's kind of like You transcend the worldly nature into the ultimate reality. Supramundane, number 14 and 15, is the path and the fruition. The path is path knowledge, where defilements are abandoned and overcome, becomes supramundane. And the result is a fruition knowledge, experience the result of the path, nibbana or nirvana, supramundane. And then number 16 is, like I said, check and balance, become mundane again. So you step back and look at what you have abandoned. You review yourself, reflect upon the experience path and fruition, what you have abandoned, what you have achieved. So the 14 and 15 is Lokutrana, Lokutrayana, basically ultimate wisdom. 1 to 13 and 16 of worldly knowledge. It's what the four ultimate truths, dependent rising, based upon. We talk about dependent rising. Four ultimate truths that they kind of summarize. First two is a rising pathway. Second, cause of suffering is the cause of the first, because your mind reaching outward with desire, sensual desire, liking and disliking. The result in the mind reaching outward, never be still, restless, keep reaching out. That's why you suffer. It's the consequence of cause of suffering, is suffering as a result. And the middle path towards the end of suffering, the result is basically caused by mind seeing mind clearly. The result is of mind seeing mind clearly is enlightenment. It's a nirvana, to back to the norm of equanimous mind. And the middle path, as we talk about in the first slide, the second slide basically, is mindfulness, mindful awareness, guarding the mind, not slip into reaching outward. And we talk about this 4 levels of enlightenment, like extreme enter, abandon, identity view is no true permanent self, no more doubt in the Buddha, and not clinging to any rituals. So basically, they may be born 7 lifetimes, which basically is the 7 small world of thoughts, and that wheel of thought, wheel of life, I showed you earlier. So you may be trapped in the thoughts 7 times, no more than that. Then your mindful awareness would catch up and let you know is your naughty thought, a sneaky thought that'll get into trouble. Catch it, the thought die down. So they have morality is perfect, minimal concentration, wisdom is minimal. But once return a Sakatagami, they didn't abandon anymore, but they kind of have a cleaner mind, lower feathers. Degree of feathers is calming down. They're perfect in morality, moderate in mental concentration, but wisdom is still minimal. And then the anagami is non-returner. It is a pure abode they'll be enlightened in the higher realm. They're perfect in morality, perfect in concentration, and moderate in wisdom. They abandon sensual desire and ill will, the positive and negative aspect of the mind, in the worldly system. And the last is the Arahant, the full enlightenment. They're perfect in all 3, morality, concentration, wisdom. They basically, they abandon the last 5 feathers, decide for mental rebirth, a material rebirth, rather. Decide for material rebirth, and also got rid of desire for immaterial rebirth. So they don't want to be born in the divine form realm or divine formless realm. They transcend that. They get into nirvana. No more self-conceit, no more restlessness, and no more ignorance, which that we talked about previously. So they get rid of the 10 feathers. So basically, a learned noble disciple become disenchanted through your practice. Once practice at this point, become Magga disenchanted, discerned, dispassionate, and liberated, released from suffering. No more suffering, no more rebirth. Basically, gain inside wisdom arises, realizing the liberation that they have accomplished. Can say, a burden, the birth is ended, birth is ended, holy life fulfilled, task is done. There's nothing else further beyond this. That's it. A little bit long today. Let me save this.